Ambassador Catherine Mitchell smoothed her navy blue blazer, a habit carried over from her days as a Marine Corps intelligence officer. The antechamber of the Galactic Council stretched before her, its crystalline walls refracting starlight in patterns that still made her eyes ache after 3 months of negotiations. Quite the light show, isn't it? Senior diplomat Robert Jensen stepped beside her, his weathered face reflecting the same contained tension she felt. Almost makes you forget we're standing in what amounts to the galaxy's most expensive waiting room. Almost, Catherine, Kate to her friends, allowed herself a small smile. Any word from our contacts about the Council's mood today? Before Jensen could answer, a soft chime echoed through the chamber. The Proxar representative, a tall, ethereal being with iridescent skin, glided toward them. Ambassador Mitchell, the Council extends its gratitude for your patience. They are ready to discuss Earth's preliminary membership status. Kate exchanged glances with Jensen. After 18 months of petitions, humanity's first real chance at joining galactic society had arrived. She straightened her shoulders and followed the Proxar, her steps measured and deliberate despite the excitement churning in her stomach. The council chamber itself put the antechamber to shame. Tiered seating rose in elegant spirals, filled with representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations. The architecture seemed designed to intimidate, to remind newer species of their place in the cosmic hierarchy. Honorable representatives of the Axiom Collective, Kate began, her voice clear and steady. Earth thanks you for this opportunity to. If I may interrupt, Ambassador. Grand Admiral Zextar of the Zoraxian Empire rose from his seat, his scaled skin catching the light. Before we proceed with pleasantries, the Council should review certain concerning evidence about humanity's readiness for membership. The chamber's main holoscreen flickered to life, displaying footage Kate recognized immediately. The Battle of Fallujah, the Siege of Sarajevo, nuclear tests in the Pacific. Each clip carefully edited to show humanity at its worst, stripped of context and explanation. These are not isolated incidents, Zextar continued, his voice carrying notes of practiced concern. Humanity's history is drenched in conflict. They split the atom not for energy, but for weapons. They reached their moon not for exploration, but in a contest of military might. Can we truly welcome such unpredictable elements into our civilized society? Kate felt her jaw tighten, but kept her diplomatic mask in place. With respect, Admiral, you're presenting a carefully curated view of our history. Humanity's struggles have led to unprecedented achievements in. Ambassador Mitchell, the Proxar representative, cut in smoothly. The Council appreciates Earth's enthusiasm. However, given this troubling evidence, we suggest a period of observation to ensure humanity's readiness for the responsibilities of membership. The rest of the session passed in a blur of diplomatic doublespeak and carefully worded deferrals. Kate maintained her composure, even as she noticed the subtle signs, the way certain representatives wouldn't meet her eyes, the carefully blank expressions of others. Hours later, in her hotel room at the Galactic Embassy complex, Kate kicked off her shoes and finally allowed her frustration to show. They're stalling, she told Jensen over a secure quantum link. But why go through the charade? They could have rejected our petition months ago. A soft knock at her door interrupted Jensen's response. Kate found a young Centaurian aide outside, their multiple eyes darting nervously down the corridor. Ambassador Mitchell, they whispered, pressing a data crystal into her hand. Some of us, we believe in humanity's potential, but you should know, your species was judged before you ever arrived. The aide disappeared before Kate could respond. She slipped the crystal into her secure reader, and her blood ran cold. Fleet movements. Military coordinates. Deployment orders signed by Admiral Zextar himself, dated months before today's session. As she stared at the evidence of the collective's betrayal, Kate's diplomatic mask finally cracked. Her expression hardened into something older than politics, something that had driven humanity from caves to the stars. They hadn't come to the council as supplicants, but as equals. If the collective couldn't accept that, they were about to learn why humanity's history of conflict wasn't a weakness. It was a warning. The crystal's data continued to scroll, counting down to invasion. Colonel James Thompson watched the alien ships descend through his rifle scope, their sleek hulls catching the morning sunlight over the Rocky Mountains. 20 years of Marine Corps service had taught him to read battlefields. These invaders were running a textbook shock and awe campaign, or at least their version of textbook. They're flying in formation like it's a damn parade. He muttered into his radio. Miller, tell our people to hold position. They're about to learn why humans don't bunch up in combat. Scattered through the mountains, his makeshift militia of park rangers, hunters, and veterans watched the Zoraxian ships approach. Thompson had spent the last 72 hours organizing them, turning his hunting lodge into a command center after the first ships appeared over major cities. The lead vessel swooped low, probably scanning for population centers. Its shield shimmer reminded Thompson of heat waves over desert sand. That's when he noticed the pattern. Look at their shield fluctuation, he radioed. Every third pulse, there's a microsecond delay. Jenny, you seeing this? Copy that. Colonel Jennifer Martinez, a former Air Force engineer, responded. Their shield harmonics are cyclic, if we time it right. Everyone with a 50 cal, coordinate with Jenny's signal, Thompson ordered. Regular rifles, aim for their sensor arrays, those bright spots near what looks like their cockpits. In Singapore's tech hub, 17-year-old Ashley Parker live-streamed the battle to millions worldwide. Her gaming channel had transformed overnight into a tactical analysis network. Their attack patterns match classic RTS strategies, she explained, her fingers flying over multiple screens. They're treating this like a simulation, not a real war. Look at these repeating maneuvers. It's like they're running press-it routines. Her insights spread across global defense networks. In the Pentagon's war room, generals watched in stunned silence as civilian hunters in Colorado brought down a Zoraxian warship with coordinated rifle fire. The alien vessel's shields had failed at exactly the moment Jennifer Martinez predicted. They never expected us to notice the shield harmonics. Ashley continued her stream, now being monitored by military commands worldwide. In gaming, we call these exploit windows, brief moments when defenses drop. The Zoraxians built their technology to withstand advanced energy weapons, not kinetic rifles fired with precise timing. The invaders' first wave met similar resistance globally. In the Brazilian rainforest, indigenous guides led guerrilla strikes against landing parties, their knowledge of the terrain proving superior to alien scanning technology. Russian hunters in Siberia discovered that their traditional wolf hunting tactics worked equally well against Zoraxian ground troops. Thompson watched the burning wreckage of the alien ship illuminate the mountainside. They expected panic, he said, helping Jennifer collect sensor data from the crash. Instead, they got a species that's been practicing war since we invented the stick. Colonel Miller's voice crackled over the radio. You need to see this. The ship's armor. It's got weak points. Regular patterns, like they never expected anyone to get close enough to notice. In her Singapore apartment, Ashley Parker's eyes widened as similar reports flooded in from around the world. They built their defenses assuming technological parity, she broadcasted. No advanced species would think to use primitive ballistic weapons. But that's humanity's advantage. We never forgot our roots. We keep old tech alongside the new, because you never know what might work. The Zoraxian commander in orbit watched in disbelief as his first wave faltered. His subordinate displayed casualty reports from multiple continents. Impossible, he hissed. Their weapons are primitive. Their tactics are obsolete. Sir, his tactical officer interrupted, they're adapting. Each engagement shows different strategies. They're learning our patterns. On the ground, Thompson gathered his fighters for a counterattack. Jenny had rigged simple EMPs from salvaged alien tech, while local hunters shared their knowledge of mountain ambush points. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They were evolving their tactics with each engagement. "Let them think we're primitive," Thompson said, watching more ships descend. "Every time they underestimate us, we get stronger. We've spent thousands of years preparing for this fight. We just didn't know it." Across Earth, humanity's response continued to shock the invaders, not with advanced technology or sophisticated weapons, but with the one thing the Zoraxians had dismissed: the hard-earned wisdom of a species that had never stopped learning how to fight, survive, and adapt. Dr. Marcus Reynolds crawled under the twisted wreckage of the Zoraxian ship, his racing coveralls already stained with alien hydraulic fluid. 20 years of modifying engines for NASCAR hadn't prepared him for quantum drives, but the basic principles weren't that different: power, containment, and control. "Pass me that scanner, Joey," he called out to his former pit crew chief. The device was a hybrid of alien tech and a modified diagnostic tablet they used on race cars. "These power conduits remind me of the nitrous system we built for the Daytona 500. Joey Wheeler slid the scanner under the wreckage. "You mean the one that almost blew up in our faces? Good times, Doc." "Exactly," Marcus grinned, studying the readings. "And what did we learn from that disaster? Always add a secondary containment system, because anything that can blow up will blow up." The makeshift research facility in the Bonneville Salt Flats buzzed with activity. Former street racers worked alongside physicists, their practical experience with high-energy systems proving invaluable. The salt's natural properties helped mask their energy signatures from orbital scans. Dr. Reynolds, Sarah Martinez, a quantum physicist who'd spent weekends doing amateur drag racing, rushed over with a tablet. "We cracked it. The Zoraxian quantum drive. It's not that different from our theoretical models. They just solved the containment problem differently." Marcus studied the data, his eyes widening. "They went for elegant solutions, multiple failsafes. But we humans, we'd brute force it," Sarah finished. "Our nuclear physics research was always messier, more practical. We had to contain atomic reactions with 1940s technology." The first prototype of a human-modified quantum drive sat in the center of the facility. It looked nothing like the sleek Zoraxian version. Cooling systems from high-performance racing cars interfaced with alien power cores. The containment field was reinforced with principles learned from decades of nuclear research. "It's not pretty," Joey observed, "but neither was any winning car I ever worked on." Marcus wiped his hands on a shop rag. "Beauty doesn't win races or wars." Across the facility, teams worked on other hybrid technologies. Demolition Derby veterans helped design combat systems, their intimate knowledge of vehicular impact physics proving surprisingly relevant. Street racing crews modified alien propulsion systems, introducing concepts that would have horrified Zoraxian engineers. "They built everything assuming perfect conditions," Sarah explained during a test firing. "Their tech expects pristine maintenance, perfect alignment. But humans, we build for reality," Marcus finished. "For when things go wrong. For when you have to patch something in the middle of a race with duct tape and prayers." The first human-modified ship rose from the salt flats 3 weeks later. Its hull was a patchwork of alien alloys and earth metals, its systems a hybrid of technologies separated by centuries of development. The Zoraxian observers in orbit dismissed it as primitive, barely spaceworthy. That was their first mistake. "Combat systems online," Joey reported from his modified pit crew station. "Ready to show these aliens how Earth does a pit stop." Marcus settled into the command chair, the familiar feel of a racing harness across his chest. "Launch sequence initiated. Sarah, how's our quantum containment looking?" "Stable, but in that special human way that would give Zoraxian engineers nightmares." The ship lifted off, its hybrid engines throwing crystallized salt in a glittering arc. In orbit, the Zoraxian fleet prepared to swat down the primitive vessel. That was their second mistake. "They're powering up their main weapons," Sarah reported. "Standard protocol, by the book." Marcus grinned. "Good thing we never read their book." Joey, show them what happens when you combine quantum physics with good old-fashioned American horsepower. The human ship moved in ways that defied conventional space combat doctrine. It pulled maneuvers that would have torn apart a properly designed vessel, its reinforced structure borrowing principles from vehicles meant to survive spectacular crashes. When the quantum drive engaged, it didn't generate the precise, controlled field of Zoraxian ships. Instead, it created a roiling bubble of space-time distortion, monitored and adjusted by systems that had evolved from managing controlled explosions in racing engines. The Zoraxian fleet recorded their first retreat that day. Their after-action reports struggled to describe what they'd witnessed. How could a species that had barely achieved spaceflight create such abominations of engineering? How could such crude modifications to their perfect technology prove so effective? In the Salt Flats facility, Marcus and his team were already working on the next generation of hybrid ships. They want elegant solutions, he told his crews. We'll give them human solutions instead. Sometimes the prettiest theory in the world can't beat a hammer used with precision. The quantum drives hummed, their song a blend of alien technology and human audacity, as Earth prepared to take the fight to the stars. Lieutenant Emma Blackwood stared at the wall of holoscreens in her makeshift command center, formerly a viral marketing agency in downtown Manhattan. Her fingers danced across the haptic interface, directing the flow of information across 1,000 alien networks. Remember when our biggest challenge was making cat videos trend? She asked her former social media team, now Earth's first cyber warfare unit against alien networks. Speaking of trends, how's Operation Transparency doing? Rachel Chen, her deputy, pulled up a galactic heat map. The footage of Zoraxian ships firing on that London hospital is spreading faster than they can suppress it. Their sensors can't keep up with Earth's meme warfare. The team had discovered that alien information networks, designed for perfect, orderly data transmission, had no defense against humanity's chaos. Earth's decentralized viral sharing approach overwhelmed their systems. They built networks assuming everyone follows proper channels. Emma smiled, launching another wave of data. They never planned for humans with smartphones and a grudge. Across the galaxy, carefully controlled alien news feeds began breaking down. Footage of Earth's civilian casualties played on endless loops, each clip carefully edited to maximize emotional impact. A skill Earth's media had perfected over centuries. In the Galactic Council's diplomatic quarter, Ambassador Catherine Mitchell leveraged this digital chaos. She sat across from representatives of the Centaurian Alliance, a group of younger spacefaring races who'd faced their own struggles with collective dominance. Your people's resistance is impressive, the Centaurian diplomat admitted, their crystalline features catching the light. But supporting Earth would risk our standing with the collective. Kate slid a data crystal across the table. Perhaps, but can you afford not to? Emma, show them. A hologram sprang to life, displaying classified Zoraxian military documents. These invasion plans, Emma's voice came through clear and sharp, weren't just for Earth. We found their next targets. 3 of them are Centaurian worlds. In another part of the galaxy, Captain Michael O'Brien led his Special Forces team through the shadowed corridors of a Zoraxian rehabilitation center. Their mission had started as a raid to rescue Earth diplomats captured before the invasion. What they found was much bigger. Command, you seeing this? O'Brien whispered into his neural link. They've got prisoners from dozens of species. Some have been here for years. Emma's team immediately began broadcasting the rescue operation across secured channels to specific alien leaders. The timing was precise. Each species saw their own people being liberated by human soldiers. Interesting, Kate observed, watching the diplomatic ripples spread. The Zoraxians called us barbarians, yet we're the ones following galactic humanitarian laws they helped write. The information war escalated. When the Zoraxians tried to paint Earth as primitive savages, Emma's team countered with footage of human medical teams treating injured alien civilians. When they claimed human technology was stolen, Rachel released documents showing Xeraxian corporations had tried to steal Earth patents before the invasion. They keep forgetting something crucial, Emma told her team during a strategy session. Earth didn't develop under their controlled conditions. Our media evolved through centuries of competition, manipulation, and counter-manipulation. We're not just fighting their current propaganda. We're fighting it with every lesson learned from every advertising campaign, political race, and viral trend in human history. The effects began showing across the collective. Younger races, inspired by Earth's resistance, started questioning centuries of Xeraxian dominance. O'Brien's teams kept finding and liberating secret detention centers, each rescue adding to Earth's growing coalition of allies. In the Centaurian embassy, Kate received an urgent message. The Alliance had voted. They would support Earth. Your species fights differently, the Centaurian diplomat explained. Not just with ships and weapons, but with truth itself. You've turned our own networks against the collective's lies. Emma's team celebrated their latest victory by launching their most ambitious campaign yet, a comprehensive database of collective corruption, broken treaties, and hidden atrocities. They named it the Earth Protocol, complete transparency, enforced by an endless army of human netizens armed with smartphones and a determination to spread the truth. They thought controlling information meant building better firewalls. Emma told her team, watching their data spread across the galaxy. We taught ourselves something different over the years. The truth doesn't need control. It just needs witnesses willing to share it. The Galactic Information Networks, once a tool of collective control, became humanity's most powerful weapon in their fight for justice. Not through superior technology, but through the simple, unstoppable power of people determined to be heard. Admiral Jessica Hayes stood on the bridge of the ESS Redemption, Earth's first hybrid tech flagship. The vessel embodied humanity's approach to space combat. Sleek alien technology merged with practical human engineering. Exposed pipes ran alongside quantum conduits, and manual override levers sat next to holographic controls. Battle Group reports ready, Admiral. Commander David Rodriguez announced from his tactical station. The Xeraxian fleet is holding position near Jupiter's orbit. Hayes studied the tactical display, where 30 Earth ships faced off against a Xeraxian battle group twice their size. Her crews were a mix of naval veterans and civilian specialists, racing pilots, storm chasers, even extreme sports athletes, people who understood how to handle the impossible. They're arranged in their ceremonial combat formation, she noted. Perfect geometric patterns. Lieutenant Chen, what do you think? Sarah Chen, their lead tactical analyst and former video game speedrunner, grinned. They're still fighting like it's a simulation. Those formations look pretty but leave predictable gaffes. Permission to show them why humans master the physics engine before trying perfect runs. Granted, all ships execute Operation Chaos Theory. The Earth fleet broke formation in ways that made the Xeraxian tactical computers scream warnings. Ships flew in patterns derived from street racing maneuvers, barrel rolling through debris fields in ways that violated every rule of proper space combat. Enemy fleet is responding, Rodriguez reported. They're confused. Their formation is trying to adapt, but their doctrine doesn't account for our approach. Hayes watched as her ships executed maneuvers born from centuries of aerial combat, translated into three-dimensional space warfare. The Redemption itself performed a move that combined an old World War II split S with quantum field manipulation, appearing seemingly impossible places. Multiple hits confirmed, Chen called out. Their predictive targeting can't handle our randomized attack patterns. Then the battle changed. A civilian transport dropped out of quantum space between the fleets, its engines failing. Xeraxian markings identified it as a passenger vessel, likely fleeing the conflict. Admiral, Rodriguez's voice was tense. The transport's quantum core is destabilizing. If it breaches, Hayes didn't hesitate. All ships, break off attack. Focus on evacuation protocols. Redemption will handle the core breach. Admiral, Chen protested. If we divert power from weapons to tractor beams, we'll be exposed to enemy fire. Then we'd better hope they're as civilized as they claim to be. Execute rescue operations. The Redemption moved into position, extending its hybrid tractor beams. The technology wasn't elegant. Earth engineers had essentially combined alien gravitics with principles learned from helicopter rescue operations. Zoraxian fleet is standing down, Rodriguez reported, surprise evident in his voice. They're sending support vessels. Admiral, I think we just changed the rules of engagement. Hours later, with the civilian transport safely evacuated and its core stabilized, Hayes received an unexpected communication from the Zoraxian commander. Your tactics were unorthodox, the alien admitted, but your willingness to risk your flagship for civilian lives, regardless of species, this is not the behavior of barbarians. Hayes allowed herself a small smile. Perhaps your collective should reconsider its definition of civilization, Commander. Humanity didn't survive this long by abandoning our principles every time they became inconvenient. The battle became a turning point. Footage of Earth ships risking destruction to save alien civilians spread across the galaxy, thanks to Emma Blackwood's information warfare team. More importantly, it sparked debate within the Zoraxian fleet itself. Their younger officers are requesting transfers to joint operations, Chen reported during the after-action briefing. They want to learn our combat techniques. Hayes studied the tactical logs from the battle. Send them to our simulators first. Let them try to outthink human randomness for a few weeks. It'll be educational for everyone. The Redemption's success sparked a revolution in space combat doctrine. Earth's hybrid ships, commanded by crews who understood both the technology's potential and its limitations, began systematically dismantling the collective's military superiority. The difference, Hayes explained to a group of alien military observers, is that humans never expected space to be safe or combat to be clean. We brought every dirty trick, desperate gambit, and impossible maneuver we'd ever learned. But we also brought something else, the understanding that true strength means knowing when not to fire. As the Redemption led its fleet deeper into collective space, it carried more than weapons and hybrid technology. It carried humanity's message to the stars, adaptability tempered by compassion, strength guided by principle, and the unshakable certainty that the right thing and the easy thing were rarely the same. Ambassador Catherine Mitchell stood before the massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber, her expression carefully neutral. This time, she wasn't here to petition. She was here to prosecute. Ready, Ambassador? Lieutenant Emma Blackwood asked, her neural tablet synchronized with the Council's systems. Months of information warfare had led to this moment. Born ready, Kate replied, straightening her ceremonial diplomatic sash. Is our surprise witness secured? Captain O'Brien has Kexley in a safe location. The former Zoraxian intelligence director is quite eager to testify. The council chamber had changed since Kate's last visit. Representatives from dozens of younger races now filled the observer galleries, their presence a testament to humanity's growing influence. The Zoraxian delegation sat in their elevated seats, their usual aristocratic poise showing signs of strain. Honorable representatives, Kate began, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's determination. 6 months ago, I stood in this chamber as a petitioner. Today, I stand as an accuser. The main holoscreens activated, displaying a cascade of evidence. Military orders predating Earth's petition. Secret directives for cultural pacification of developing worlds. Financial transactions linking council members to illegal colonization operations. These records, Kate continued, show a pattern of corruption spanning centuries. The collective speaks of civilization while practicing systematic oppression. They preach cultural superiority while violating their own sacred laws. Grand Admiral Zextar rose to object, but Kate was ready. Perhaps the Admiral would like to explain these documents bearing his personal encryption key. The ones detailing the preliminary pacification of 3 developing worlds in the past year alone. Emma's team coordinated with precision, each piece of evidence timed for maximum impact. Footage from O'Brien's rescue missions played alongside financial records showing council members profiting from forced labor camps. The collective claims humanity is too aggressive, too unpredictable for membership. Kate's voice hardened. Yet in 6 months of war, Earth has shown more respect for galactic law than the Council has in centuries. The chamber erupted in chaos as more evidence appeared. Younger races began shouting accusations. Several council members attempted to access emergency transport systems, only to find them locked by Emma's cyber warfare team. Order. The Proxar representative's voice cut through the chaos. Ambassador Mitchell, these accusations are severe. Do you have direct testimony to support them? Kate smiled. I'm glad you asked. I call former Zoraxian Intelligence Director Kexley to the chamber. The doors opened, and Captain O'Brien escorted in a tall Zoraxian wearing the formal robes of the Intelligence Directorate. The chamber fell silent. Director Kexley, Kate began, please tell the Council why you chose to defect to Earth. Because humans showed me what true civilization looks like. Kexley's voice carried across the chamber. They fought with honor when we offered none. They showed mercy when we expected savagery. But most importantly, they unveiled the corruption that has rotted our society from within. As Kexley testified, more Zoraxian officers stepped forward, young commanders who had witnessed Earth's rescue of civilian transports, intelligence officers who had seen the evidence of council corruption, warriors who had faced human ingenuity and lived to question their own doctrine. The collective speaks of proper protocol and civilized behavior. Kate addressed the stunned chamber. Yet when Earth demonstrated real civilization, protecting civilians, honoring laws of war, offering mercy to enemies, the Council called us primitive. Perhaps it's time to redefine what civilized truly means. Emma's team released their final data bomb, complete records of every closed Council session for the past century, every backroom deal, every suppressed species, every violated law exposed to galactic scrutiny. Humanity doesn't claim to be perfect, Kate concluded. Our history is complex, often violent. But we learn from our mistakes. We evolve. We hold ourselves accountable. Can the Council say the same? The chamber descended into unprecedented chaos as centuries of careful political maneuvering unraveled. Young races demanded reform. Old alliances crumbled. And through it all, Earth's evidence continued to flow, unstoppable as the tide. In the gallery, a young Zoraxian aide approached Kate. This will change everything, they whispered. Kate watched as the mighty collective began to crack under the weight of its own exposed corruption. That's the point, she replied. Sometimes systems need to break before they can be rebuilt properly. The revolution had begun not with weapons, but with truth, and in the end, that proved to be humanity's most powerful weapon of all. The reformed council chamber gleamed under the light of 1,000 stars, its tiered seating now rearranged to form equal circles rather than hierarchical rows. Ambassador Catherine Mitchell stood at the central podium, her diplomatic uniform bearing both Earth's insignia and the marks of battle. The evidence has been presented, the Proxar mediator announced. The Council recognizes Earth's ambassador for the presentation of the human doctrine. Kate took a moment to survey the chamber. Emma Blackwood's team had transformed the vast screens into a real-time translation matrix, ensuring every species would hear her words in their native tongue. Admiral Hayes and Captain O'Brien stood with the military delegation, while Dr. Reynolds represented Earth's scientific community. Distinguished representatives, Kate began, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's journey. We came to the stars seeking friendship. You answered with fire. We offered partnership. You chose invasion. Now we offer something unprecedented, a new way forward. The chamber's holodisplays activated, showing scenes from Earth's history, not the carefully curated warfare footage the Zoraxians had once shown, but the full spectrum of human experience. You saw our conflicts and called us savages, Kate continued, gesturing to images of past wars. But you missed what came after, Look at our peace treaties, our international organizations, our cultural exchanges. Humanity didn't achieve unity through enforced harmony. We built it through hard work, honest dialogue, and the willingness to learn from our mistakes. The displays shifted to show the aftermath of the invasion. Human medical teams treating alien civilians, Earth ships protecting refugee convoys, joint human-alien crews working together on hybrid vessels. The human doctrine is simple. True civilization isn't measured by technological advancement or military might. It's measured by how we treat those different from us, by how we handle power, by our capacity for growth and change. Kate activated a neural interface Emma's team had prepared. The chamber's systems responded, creating a three-dimensional display of Earth's proposed reforms. First, equal representation, not based on technological achievement or military power, but on the fundamental right of all sentient species to shape their destiny. The display showed a new council structure, with rotating leadership and balanced voting systems. Second, transparent governance. No more secret sessions, no hidden agendas. The collective strength should come from open dialogue, not backroom deals. Emma's team highlighted specific passages from Earth's own political evolution, the development of checks and balances, the growth of democratic institutions. Third, protected development. Young civilizations must be allowed to grow at their own pace, free from forced pacification or cultural interference. The screens showed the diverse nations of Earth, each maintaining its unique identity while participating in a global community. Fourth, shared progress. Technology and knowledge should lift all species, not create artificial hierarchies. Earth pledges to share our hybrid innovations, including our unique perspective on combining different technological approaches. Dr. Reynolds stepped forward, presenting data on how Earth's primitive insights had already advanced various fields of galactic science. And finally, earn trust. No species can claim superiority through age or advancement alone. Trust must be built through actions, maintained through accountability, and renewed through continuous effort. Kate paused, letting the principles sink in. Then she delivered the words that would be remembered for generations. You invaded our home thinking us savages. We defended it like warriors. Now we'll rebuild it like diplomats. The choice for peace was always yours. Now it's your last option. The chamber erupted in discussion. Younger races voiced immediate support. Even among the older species, heads nodded in reluctant acknowledgement. As Oraxian commander rose to speak, "And if we reject this doctrine?" Kate's expression remained diplomatic, but her voice carried steel. "Then you face a species that has mastered both the art of war and the science of peace. We didn't want this fight, but we've proven we can win it. The question is, are you wise enough to help us build something better?" The silence that followed was different from the one that had greeted Earth's first petition. This wasn't the quiet of dismissal, but the pause of profound change. The human doctrine isn't just a set of rules, Kate concluded. It's a promise that the galaxy's future will be built on understanding, not dominance. On cooperation, not submission. On truth, not power. That's what makes civilization worth fighting for. And more importantly, worth building together. The doctrine's presentation marked the beginning of a new era. Humanity had come to the stars seeking friendship and found war instead. Now they offered something unexpected. A path to genuine peace, forged in the crucible of conflict but tempered by wisdom. 1 year after the presentation of the human doctrine, the transformed council chamber hosted the signing of the Terra Accords. Ambassador Catherine Mitchell stood beside the Proxar representative, watching as delegates from 300 species approached the signing platform. "Did you ever imagine this day when they first invaded?" Emma Blackwood asked, her neural interfaces now managing the new galactic information exchange instead of cyber warfare. Honestly, Kate smiled. "I was just hoping we'd survive. The change we've sparked, it's beyond anything we dreamed." The chamber itself reflected the new order. Admiral Hayes oversaw the combined peacekeeping fleet from a command center where human and Zoraxian officers worked side by side. Dr. Reynolds led the science exchange, where Earth's primitive approaches to physics revolutionized galactic technology. Ambassador Mitchell, a young Zoraxian diplomat, approached, her ceremonial armor modified with practical human innovations. The reform candidates are ready for their orientation. Kate followed her to a side chamber where Captain O'Brien was briefing the first class of the new diplomatic corps. Former adversaries sat together, learning Earth's hard-won lessons about building peace from conflict. The key, O'Brien explained, isn't to eliminate differences, it's to understand them. Earth spent millennia figuring that out. Now we can help others avoid our longer path. In the main chamber, Kexley, now serving as the head of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, presented the latest findings. The commission didn't just expose past wrongs, it created pathways for reform and redemption. The Zoraxian people have begun integrating art and individual expression into our society, Kexley reported. Our younger generation particularly embraces these changes. They call it the human revolution. The freedom to be imperfect yet always improving. The signing ceremony began with Earth's former enemies leading the way. The Zoraxian High Command, transformed by their encounter with humanity, pledged their fleet to the new peacekeeping force. Younger races stepped forward as equals, their voices now carrying the same weight as ancient civilizations. The Accords are more than a peace treaty, Kate addressed the assembly. They're a commitment to continuous growth. Earth doesn't pretend to have all the answers, but we've learned something valuable. True strength comes from facing our flaws honestly and working to overcome them together. Dr. Reynolds unveiled the next generation of hybrid technology, ships designed collaboratively by multiple species, combining the best of all approaches. Innovation doesn't care about age or status, he explained. It comes from being open to new ideas, regardless of their source. Emma's information network had evolved from a weapon of war into a tool for understanding. We're building bridges instead of firewalls, she told a group of alien communications experts. Earth learned that the free flow of information, while sometimes messy, leads to better solutions than controlled narratives. The ceremony reached its peak as the final protocols were signed. The new council structure emphasized practical problem-solving over rigid hierarchy. Regular rotations of leadership ensured fresh perspectives, while Earth's system of checks and balances prevented the concentration of power that had corrupted the old order. A year ago, Kate addressed the chamber one final time. We offered you a choice between war and transformation. You chose wisely. But our work is just beginning. Earth's history teaches us that maintaining peace is harder than winning war. It requires constant effort, endless dialogue, and the courage to admit when we're wrong. As if to emphasize her point, a group of children entered the chamber, human and alien youth who would grow up in this new galaxy. They moved easily among the different species, their natural curiosity unopposed by prejudice. This, Kate gestured to the children, is what we fought for. Not dominance, not revenge, but the chance to build something better than we inherited. Every species here brings unique strengths to this future. Earth's gift was showing how to turn conflict into cooperation, difference into diversity, and enemies into allies. The chamber erupted in applause as the final signatures were logged. The Terra Accords weren't just a document. They were a blueprint for continued evolution. Humanity had arrived in the galactic community as petitioners, become warriors when necessary, and emerged as teachers. As the celebration began, Kate watched the various species mingling freely, sharing stories and ideas. You know what the best part is? She told her team. This is just the beginning. Imagine what we'll achieve now that we're working together. The stars shone brighter that day, witnesses to a new chapter in galactic history, one written not in the language of power, but in the words of hope, unity, and endless possibility.